Happy Sunday, everybody. We're out at Kennedy Space Center. Came back out to KSC because they have the Summer of Mars program going on here now. They have a bus that simulates going on the planet Mars, and they did have a rover. The rover is actually on tour up the East Coast. I think we're gonna miss it here today. There's a spaceman. There's the meatball. JFK. We're gonna go to the moon. Hopefully Mars. So we walk in right to the rocket garden. Most important thing that we're here to see today is the Mars Experience bus. It's just beyond the rocket garden. Come around this way. It's a school bus. That's what we want to get on. And I believe inside is all screens, and it simulates riding on Mars. I think this may start at 10 o'clock. We hear it open at 9, so we've got some time. Here's a mock-up of the Orion Capsule. Here's what it looks like when you leave Earth. Rocket out. Mars. Wait for it to come back into position, and then return back. We know that radiation is bad. On Mars, 3 days of radiation exposure is basically equal to a year in Earth time. And there's some information on the module. So for all of the Mars offerings that they have right now, you can see anything with the little triangle is Mars. So they have the Z2 spacesuit of the future. This is the Mars Experience bus that we're waiting to get on. And on the other side of the paper you get Journey to Space 3D, it's IMAX program, mission status briefing, Eyes on the Red Planet, Journey to Mars Explorers Wanted, we'll do that after this, and Red and Blue.
Life support, 100%. Solar panels, sun pointing. High gain antenna, earth pointing. Calibrating for 33% of Earth gravity. Welcome to Mars. Location, Gale Crater. Ground speed, 30 meters per hour. Transmitting data. Considerable dust expected. Category 2 dust storm approaching. Debris screens deployed. Batteries engaged. Wind speed dropping. Visibility increasing. Temperature increasing. Performing diagnostics. All systems normal. Proceeding on mission. Proximity sensor activated. Now approaching Mars Solomon Base Camp. Main habitat secure. Experimental labs secure. Life support systems 100%. Hydroponic garden operational. Solar panels sun pointing. Current Martian time 1824. Sol 231. Attention. Possibility of dry ice snowfall. Now at 15%.
We're not driving.
Current radio transmission time to Earth 8.4 minutes. Solar energy intake decreasing. Switching to battery power. Thermal radiation dropping rapidly. Current temperature negative 96 degrees Fahrenheit. Motion detected. Receiving incoming transmission from rover.
I hope you all enjoyed your visit to the surface of Mars and seeing how we're studying its geology, environment, and weather. You know, it takes 8 or 9 months to get to Mars, even when it's nearest to Earth. But Mars is closer than you think. In fact, the first person to truly visit is already in school today. Think about that. In the very near future, someone's going to Mars.
Will it be you? Lockheed Martin welcomes you to Generation Beyond. Together, we can engineer a better tomorrow.
That was cool, just not literally. There is no air conditioning on that bus or in Mars. It's like a steam bath. Let's take a closer look at the Orion capsule. Holding the camera at about an arm's length distance. It's not giant, it's not tiny either. Here are some details about it. We're in the astronaut encounter theater now because we're going to get our mission briefing for the day.
All right, let's fill you in on what's going on around here. And we're going to take a look here. And first of all, in case you're not familiar with the area, this is where you are right now, just like it says. You'll be out at the VAB later. You'll take a trip around the pads, 39A and B, the most famous launch pads in the world. Everybody that ever left for the moon left from right there. This is Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. And a lot of early space flight took place over here. Alan Shepard left from there, John Glenn about there, the Gemini missions. These are the 4 active launch pads, 37, 40, 41, 39A. We're going to tell you when the next launch is. There's the shuttle landing facility up there. And so it's quite a big complex, 140,000 acres, just Kennedy Space Center. It's pretty big. All right, I'll tell you what's coming up. Well, we just had a launch, as it says there, on the 5th. We finally got that Intelsat rocket up there on the 3rd try. Everything's looking good. Got up there and that rocket did not land. The payload is too heavy for it to be able to do that. But their next launch coming up in August when they do that. So we'll take a look. And also, this was the last one they did in April. That's what that looks like, the Falcon 9 over there on pad 40. And I think we've got a little video here of a launch. This is the actual launch, first reflight of a used booster. Now, if you guys think watching a rocket go up is pretty cool, it is. Especially this really quiet one. Yes, a lot of great mufflers on that thing. So yeah, it's pretty cool going up, and that is 39A. That's the most famous launch pad in the world. There it was. The first used orbital booster. That is their big thing, reusable rockets. Brings down the cost of space transportation a great deal. And it really makes sense when you stop to think about it. And there it is, landing. Now that's not cool, I don't know what is. There it is. That's moving out there in the ocean. They give you another view here, I do believe. Let's see if it'll show you that. Oh, okay. And here we go. Yeah, there it is from the rocket's point of view. And you know, those GoPros are everywhere. You know, they've got them all over. So. And this is no exception. And it's a pretty cool thing. And it's going to land on the barge, I believe. There it is. Look at that. Right on target. And the name of the barge, by the way, is Of Course I Still Love You. And the other one is named Just Read the Instructions. So they certainly have a sense of humor about stuff. But they're doing some great things. They are. We're happy to have them out here. If you ever wonder what they're up to on a space station, you can go to this website, spotthestationnasa.gov. But we're going to be concentrating on deep space. Other companies are going to be doing the low Earth orbit work that the space shuttle used to do. So we're going to concentrate on deep space. And if you remember, a couple of years ago, we launched the Orion test flight. Up in 2014, we sent it out 3,600 miles away from Earth, brought it in at about 20,000 miles an hour, which is the fastest. We launched it on that big Delta Heavy up there. And it worked just fine. Heat shield worked fine. And now we're ready to do the final launch of the first fully assembled rocket, and that's coming up. And there's the pressure vessel. And the unmanned lunar orbiting flight now scheduled for 2019. That's just about a year and a half away. And that is going to be on board the big Space Launch System rocket. This is it. Kind of looks like a Saturn V and a shuttle got together and had a baby, right? Well, that's exactly what it looks like. You see the solid rocket boosters the shuttle had, just these are bigger, and the big orange tank, just like the shuttle had, except those are bigger, and there's 4 engines underneath. Let's take a look at what it might look like going up. This is pad 39B, and you'll see that on your tour later. And this is not as tall as a Saturn V, but it's more powerful. It is 8.5 million pounds of thrust. And again, world's quietest rocket. And this will be the vehicle for deep space exploration. And again, the usual stage separations, just like all of our flights, the escape abort system. There's the 3rd stage, the service module, command module. The modified J2 engine. Solar panels for long-term flight. And eventually, that will head off into probably a translunar injection first. It'll probably go around the moon, much like Apollo 8 did. Just to test its capabilities. And then further out, on a longer timeline, we hope to possibly be on Mars by 2040 or so. So our kids, ages 7 to 17, are the most likely ones to walk on Mars, which is kind of cool. So I always ask them, would you like to go? Yeah? All right, let me give you the bad news first. It takes 9 months, no internet. They're working on it, though. But anyway, 21st Century Launch Complex, these are some of the vehicles that we have and will launch. Here, there are more of them all the time in different ones, different shapes, as you can see. And there's a lot of exciting things happening in space. Space tourism is going to be big. It's all coming. Some of it's actually coming here. So you'll learn about that on your tours. All right, 39A, of course, the most famous launch pad in the world. SpaceX, their hangar is there. That's where they're going to launch the Falcon, the big Falcon Heavy. They want to launch that this summer. 39B, that's where we're going to launch the Space Launch System to Mars ultimately. And there's pad 41 over on Cape Canaveral, where the Boeing Starliner will launch. And there's the access arm being attached right there. That's where the end of the elevator where the astronauts walk across the walkway to get into their capsule.
Mission briefing was pretty awesome. I'm gonna go check out Journey to Mars now, see what's happening there. It's been quite a while since we've gone through this exhibit. Summer of Mars. The Mars mission needs you. Here's the heavy rocket that we just learned about. So here is your destination. Here's the ISS.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the center of Mars and the Kennedy Space Center Visitor Complex. The Journey to Mars building.
Up close with the moon.
This presentation of Explorers Monitor will be on the stage for less than 15 minutes. Until then, we have simulators for docking to the space station and landing on the moon. We have full-size scale models of our designated Mars rovers and Mars missions.
We're heading to Mars.
The explorer even further than they ever thought possible once we get to the surface of a planet or a moon. Such as this rover over here can take 4 people in it for over 7 days.
Traveling beyond Mars.
Experimenters explore while they're in that rover and brought them to walk on the surface with their spacesuits, including their exploration. They can go 150 kilometers.
Here's a large model of a rocket, the SLS.
I did that cable.
Should look great in my living room. Let's take a look at what it's like in the crew vehicle. This is full size. There is not a lot of room in here. There's the headrest. He's got his monitor right in front of him. Wow. Yes. Look at this rover. Way cool. This is from manned space exploration. You can see how folks fit in here. So cool. And here are different rovers. Sojourner. Spirit. And Curiosity. Let's get another look at Curiosity here.
Yes, because all doing the same thing. These commercial partners are basically research and development systems, so they really don't sell anything anyway. No.
So cool. We have lunar lander simulators here too. I love these recruitment posters that they have now. Awesome take on the old school propaganda posters. This is the Lockheed Martin heat shield. Kind of gives you an idea of the circumference of each of the heat shields for Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo, and an Orion. The camera's not wide enough to fit the whole thing in. Because the best we're gonna do here right now. And this is the Athlete rover. All-terrain, hex-legged, extraterrestrial explorer. That is the clearest mirror I've ever seen in my life. It looks like that is legit another room. And you know what they say at Athlete? Eat fresh.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Wow, the future of space exploration looks good, doesn't it? But it's not just about cool rockets and high-tech gadgets, it is about people, and it's the greatest adventure of all time. Welcome to Explorers Wanted. Here you can see what's happening today at NASA, get a feel for what it takes to have a career in space exploration. Plans are already underway for humankind's next giant leap off the planet. You're invited to be a part of it. Imagine standing on the red planet millions of miles from Earth, looking up at that tiny blue dot where you were born. But before you can experience that moment, you must first answer 3 questions. Can you survive the long journey? How will you live on the surface of Mars? And can you make it safely back to Earth? Sounds difficult, doesn't it? In fact, these are some of the most complex problems humankind has ever tackled. And NASA can't do it alone. We're going to need your help. The journey to Mars is both long and dangerous. So rather than sending you in one giant leap, you need to take a few smaller steps first. You will use those other destinations to serve as proving grounds for solving some of the challenges you'll face. In fact, right now above our heads, astronauts on board the ISS are conducting groundbreaking research that will pave the way for your expedition. Plans are also in the works to redirect a nearby asteroid into orbit around the moon. I know, it sounds like science fiction, but it's true. You will use the asteroid to perfect capabilities you'll need for the Mars mission. It may even reveal clues about the formation of our solar system. Meanwhile, the moon will serve as a perfect dress rehearsal for Mars. They both have a lot in common. They have far less gravity than Earth, and they are both freezing. Well, now that we know where you're going, it's time to figure out how to make it happen. And your starting point is right here at the Kennedy Space Center. After launching from here, you'll really get a sense of how fragile and special our tiny planet really is. Exploring Mars will help us better understand our home, our past, and our future. But before we can push beyond the boundaries of our own planet, we must first push the boundaries of science and technology. Microgravity is punishing on the human body. Your bones will thin, your muscles will shrink, and your immune system will weaken. We've got to figure out how we're going to keep you healthy during your long journey. And as powerful as the new rockets will be, you won't be able to travel with all of the supplies you'll need. You'll have to learn to live off the land when you get there. It's back to basics as you learn to grow food, create water, and build a shelter. Here on Earth, we have abundant resources to sustain life. However, on Mars, you'll have to learn how to conserve and reuse everything. That's right, everything. All of these things are being done to help you get to Mars. But human space exploration isn't just about pushing boundaries. It also fulfills a deep need to understand our world and to explore the nature and meaning of human life. Okay, it's also really awesome. But just think about this. 100 years ago, there were no airlines. But a few decades later, now millions of people travel by air. Many of you probably traveled here on an airplane and never gave it a second thought. In the future, dreams of space travel will be a reality for more people than ever before. And in the next few decades, space transportation systems will transform our world in ways we haven't seen since the dawn of aviation. Have you ever wondered what it'd be like to work at NASA? Whether you're flying the mission or supporting it from the ground, it takes a special kind of person to embrace the challenges and risks. Someone like you.
We don't know what the universe is made of. We don't know where the limits of the universe are. We don't know what dark matter is. We don't know.
Is it all figured out? No, it's not all figured out. It's never all figured out.
That's why it's so exciting.
It's just so much, and we know so little about it.
Why should we explore space when we have so many problems here on Earth?
People ask me this question all the time.
We don't take a rocket and fill it with dollars and blast it into outer space. Every dollar we spend is spent here on Earth. And that makes for a better economy.
It makes life better right here on Earth.
Amazing things have happened because of our space exploration. Cell phones.
Solar panels.
Environmental monitoring.
Artificial limbs.
Communications.
Pharmaceuticals, computer technology.
Solutions to problems here on Earth.
Just imagine what else will come.
So many more inventions and discoveries that we will use in our daily lives.
You only learn by really going out there and pushing the boundaries.
We don't know what's going to happen in the future.
What happened to Mars?
Mars once had an environment similar to Earth.
It has a Grand Canyon, the equivalent of Los Angeles to New York. So there was plenty of water on Mars in the past.
Where did it go? What happened?
How did Mars become a wasteland?
Could it happen here on Earth?
How can we as a species survive?
Could you bring Mars back to life?
We could learn by going off the planet and potentially bring those lessons back.
We learn more about what our eventual future may be.
What if an asteroid is coming towards Earth?
It could wipe out civilization as we know it.
What if we haven't developed a way to stop it? We'd have to sit back and watch it happen.
That will be a disaster. As a people, we would have failed.
We can sit here and do nothing. But did the caveman sit in his cave and do nothing? Or did the caveman look out at the hill and say, I wonder what's over that hill?
When you're part of a NASA team, you have to develop new technologies and solve problems that no one else has ever solved.
You need to figure out how to get hundreds of thousands of pounds of equipment to space.
How long can humans survive on the surface before ill effects?
We don't know right now how to keep food preserved long enough for the trip. So we'll need people to solve that problem.
This is going to be hard. Harder than anything anyone has ever done.
Right now, I have no idea how we're going to do that, but we will.
And while you're doing all this, you might answer questions like, is there life out there?
Are we alone?
Are we alone?
Are we alone?
The greatest discoveries are yet to come. But if you want to be involved in something big, I mean something really big, where you can say you were part of the next step of human evolution, that's what exploring space is all about.
You can stay in the cave if you want to, but you can take a risk and you can walk over the hill and who knows what you'll find.
Wow, look at this. Most impressive.
So, let's begin. What you see here, when we talk about science on a sphere, we're going to talk about science and it's projected on a sphere. That's a 6-foot carbon filament ball. Now, it looks like it's spinning. It's not spinning. We actually have 4 projectors that are synchronized to make it seem like it's spinning. But it's just a very effective way to show things that are round, as if they're really round and really spinning. So let's take a look at the planet Mars. Every slide you're going to see here, or every picture, is either a picture taken by a telescope, taken by a space probe, taken by a planetary lander. Every one with the exception of one. There's one photo that we created. The reason for that is there were no cameras 3 billion years ago. But other than that, every other photograph you're going to see is a real photo. No artist drawings here. So that's our planet Mars. It's about 4,200 miles across, or about half the size of the planet Earth. There's a lot of things that are similar about Mars and Earth, and we're going to go through that. You'll notice it's red, okay? That's to do with the iron oxide in the soil. But the ancient people that looked at Mars originally, and when you look at it, you can see it in the night sky, it does appear to be red. They assumed it was blood. So they said it was kind of a warrior-type planet, and they named it after the Roman god of war, Mars. They later found that there were 2 natural satellites we could call moons of Mars. Well, if the Roman god Mars, named the planet after, they gave those 2 moons something that are associated with war. Their names are Phobos and Deimos. Phobos, get the word phobia, or fear, and Deimos, terror. 2 of the great things we think about when we think about war, fear and terror. So that's Mars, weigh 100 pounds on Earth, it'd weigh about 38 on Mars. Weigh 150 pounds on Earth, it'd weigh about 57 pounds or so on Mars. 200 pounds on Earth, about 76 pounds on Mars. So we know that, again, Mars did have water way back when. One thing we can look at on Earth is we have currents, our waters. If you live by the sea, a good part of the human population lives very close to land where it's close to the sea, you know that the water moderates the temperature. The further inland you go, the temperature extremes are greater. Water acts as a modifier. Here you can see the temperature of the water around the Earth, how the water flows from place to place. Again, here you can see the continent of Africa. Okay, there's the Horn of Africa. You can see the water patterns. Let's move the Earth around a little bit. There's the Caribbean Sea, right here at Florida. This is where we are right now. You can see the surface temperature around those areas are much more moderated. And every day, the rivers are discharging. If you take a look in January, take a look at the water being discharged on all the great rivers of the Earth. That changes day to day as, again, the water runs off into the oceans. Now let's take a look at Mars, since we've been looking at the Earth. The Maitland spacecraft, remember we filled in those pretty colors blue to show you what the world looked like. Take a look at this ancient riverbed with the streams that flowed out there a long time ago. Okay, the Maitland spacecraft is now in orbit around Mars. Let's take a look at the Earth and see how cloud patterns change as the clouds move around here in the southern hemisphere, or I should say the eastern hemisphere and the western hemisphere. Again, right here is where we are now in Florida. You can see how we have these global changes in clouds as the time goes on. These compressed pictures were taken taken back in March. This is March 13th, and you can see the hours just flying on. You can see how these weather patterns and how these cloud patterns go around the Earth. Now, on Mars, we also have cloud and weather patterns. How many people have seen the movie The Martian? Raise your hand. Anybody? Okay, ooh, a lot of people, that's great. The key to that movie was that windstorm in the first few minutes. Remember the windstorm and it wrecked the habitat. Windstorms on Mars? Very true. Does dust get blown away? Very true. Could that happen? Very not true. Because there's one teensy-weensy thing they had to do to make the movie reliable, to make the movie believable. And unfortunately, the atmosphere on Mars, the amount of pressure is about 1/100th of what it is on Earth. The winds get to about 60 miles an hour. But there's so little atmosphere, you would not have things being blown down. Okay, the Earth has very, very much more atmosphere, about 14.7 pounds of pressure on every square inch of your body. Mars, 1/100th of that. So that couldn't happen, but if you didn't have it happen, you wouldn't have a movie. So we do have the winds. What do the winds look like? Well, we have that Maitland spacecraft again taking those pictures. Let's take a look at what winds on Mars look like. Now watch. You'll see Maitland is circling Mars. Take a look at the dust storms. They are moving across. They're planetary wide. You'll see the Maitland spacecraft going from place to place, photographing, so we can see dust being blown around. So that does happen. However, it does not show that it would not be as strong as it was in the movie.
I think we are going to head out today. It is super hot. I've seen these other attractions recently, and I really wanted to just check out all the Mars stuff, which I think we did. Like I said earlier in the video, the prototype Mars rover will be back here in August. We'll have to come back and check it out at that time. It's on tour right now up the East Coast. So for now, we have seen everything there is to see. We'll put links in the video for the other visits that we've made to Kennedy Space Center so you guys can check everything out, including Atlantis, which was celebrating its anniversary of being retired yesterday. We've done full Atlantis tours before as well, so feel free to check all of that out. There's a ton of stuff to see at Kennedy Space Center. Even after a few hours of just spending time checking out all the Mars stuff, I am hyped on space travel again. And right now I'm hyped on getting back to the car and air conditioning. By the way, check out this parking spot that I got. There's the entrance. There's the car. When does that happen? Came back home from Kennedy Space Center. That was a really fun day. Short day, but fun day. Really great to see all the Mars stuff that they have going on. The Mars program that they're running is like a summer-wide type of thing. We'll put the dates down below so you guys can know if you're heading over to Kennedy Space Center to specifically look for the Mars stuff. It's there for a limited time, although they integrate a lot of the other pieces throughout the rest of the activities that they have, you know, year-round at the Kennedy Space Center Visitors Complex. Kennedy Space Center is one of our favorite places to go to. There's always something new that we haven't seen before, or twists on things that we have seen before. We've had annual passes for quite a while, and I find it's a great alternative to going to Universal, SeaWorld, Disney, etc. Kennedy Space Center has been getting a little bit more crowded lately, I think because of the folks off from school and vacationing and stuff, but for the most part, it's a less crowded venture and more space to kind of go off and wander on your own than being crammed into specific lines for attractions at the theme parks. And like I said before, there's so many things that we didn't show you in today's video that we have done before, but we'll link our videos down below. We'll put them in a playlist of all of the Kennedy Space Center stuff that we've done to date, as well as put a link somewhere in this video so you guys can check that out. But for now, we're going to say goodbye. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you for all of your likes. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your subscriptions. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Have a great night. We'll see you guys.